Lila stood frozen, the acrid smell of smoke still clinging to her skin. The fire had come without warning, a hungry beast that devoured her childhood home. She was 16, the eldest of 8, and had been at a friend's house when the call came. Her parents' voices, broken and raw, told her the unthinkable. Her 7 siblings, Ellie, Max, Sophie, Ben, Clara, Finn, and little Rosie were gone. The fire left nothing but ash and a void that threatened to swallow her whole. She stumbled through the hospital doors, her parents' grief mirroring her own, a weight too heavy for words. Days later, Lila sat in the temporary apartment, staring at the ceiling. The silence was deafening without Max's laughter or Rosie's babbling. She clutched Ellie's scorched teddy bear, the only thing salvaged from the wreckage. Guilt gnawed at her. Why was she spared? Her parents, lost in their own sorrow, barely spoke. Lila felt like a ghost in her own life, tethered to memories she couldn't escape. The fire's cause remained a mystery, but whispers of faulty wiring haunted her. She needed answers, not just for herself, but for the siblings whose voices she'd never hear again. Lila's days blurred into a haze of grief and questions. School became a battlefield of pitying glances and whispered rumors. She avoided the charred remains of her home, but the image was seared into her mind. Blackened beams, melted toys, and the swing set twisted by heat. Her parents, once vibrant, were shadows, their eyes hollow. Lila wanted to scream, to shake them back to life, but she was drowning too. At night, she dreamed of her sibling Sophie's teasing grin, Finn's clumsy hugs. Waking brought fresh pain. She started writing letters to them, spilling her guilt onto pages no one would read. Why hadn't she been there? Could she have saved them? The fire inspector's vague reports offered no closure. Determined, Lila vowed to uncover the truth, even if it broke her further. Lila visited the library, poring over articles about house fires. She learned about electrical faults, arson, and human error, each possibility a new wound. Her parents didn't notice her absence. They were lost in legal battles over insurance. Lila felt alone, but her siblings' memories fueled her. She sketched their faces, afraid they'd fade. A neighbor, Mrs. Carter, mentioned seeing a strange van near the house that night. Lila's heart raced. Was it a clue? She tracked down the fire department's report, but it was frustratingly vague. Undeterred, she started asking questions around town, ignoring the pity in people's eyes. Each step felt like a betrayal of her grief, but stopping wasn't an option. At the town hall, Lila met a retired firefighter, Tom, who seemed uneasy about her questions. He hinted at a cover-up, saying the fire's speed wasn't typical for faulty wiring. His cryptic warning, "Some truths are better left buried," chilled her. Lila's resolve hardened. She couldn't let fear stop her. Back home, she found her father sorting through old photos, tears staining his face. For the first time, they talked about Rosie's first steps. The moment was fleeting, but it gave Lila hope. She needed her family to heal, but first, she needed the truth. The van, Tom's words, the fire's mystery. They were pieces of a puzzle she was determined to solve. Lila found an old journal of Ellie's tucked in a box of salvaged items. The pages were filled with her sister's dreams and fears, a window into a life cut short. Reading it felt like hearing Ellie's voice again, and Lila sobbed, clutching the worn book. One entry mentioned a weird guy watching their house. Could it be connected? She confronted her parents, but they dismissed her, too broken to engage. Frustrated, Lila visited the fire site alone. The ruins were haunting, but she felt her siblings' presence. Kneeling in the ash, she promised to find answers. A strange symbol carved into a charred beam caught her eye, sparking a new lead. Lila photographed the symbol, a jagged star inside a circle. It wasn't random, it felt deliberate. She scoured the internet, finding similar symbols linked to obscure local legends about a secretive group. Her heart pounded. Was the fire intentional? She couldn't shake the thought. At school, a classmate, Jamie, noticed her distraction and offered to help. Hesitant but desperate, Lila shared the symbol. Jamie's eyes widened. He'd seen it on an old warehouse. They agreed to investigate, but Lila felt a mix of fear and excitement. The truth was closer, but so was the danger. The abandoned warehouse loomed under a gray sky. Lila and Jamie crept inside, the air thick with dust. The symbol was etched on a wall, alongside strange markings. Lila's phone buzzed a text from an unknown number. "Stop digging." Her blood ran cold, but she pressed on. They found old documents hinting at a group called the Order of the Star, tied to local land disputes. Lila wondered if her family's home was targeted. Jamie urged caution, but Lila's grief fueled her recklessness. She needed to know why her siblings were taken from her. Lila's parents noticed her late nights and questioned her. She lied, unable to share her dangerous quest. The rift between them grew, but Lila couldn't stop. She felt her siblings urging her forward. At the library, she found a book on the Order, describing rituals and a vendetta against certain families. The anonymous texts continued, each more threatening. Lila's fear battled her determination. She confided in Jamie, who promised to stick by her. Together, they planned to infiltrate a rumored Order meeting. The risk was high, but Lila needed answers more than safety. Disguised in hoodies, Lila and Jamie slipped into the meeting at an old barn. Cloaked figures chanted around the star symbol. Lila's heart raced as she overheard talk of cleansing properties. Was her family's home a target? She snapped photos, but a figure spotted her. They fled, hearts pounding, as footsteps chased them into the night. Safely home, Lila studied the photos, recognizing a council member among the figures. The betrayal stung people she trusted might be involved. Her siblings' faces haunted her, pushing her to keep going despite the danger. Lila confronted Tom again, showing him the photos. His face paled. He admitted the Order had influence in town, possibly even in the fire department. He urged her to stop, but Lila refused. Her siblings deserved justice. She felt their spirits guiding her, a quiet strength. Jamie helped her dig deeper, uncovering land records tying the Order to her family's property. The fire wasn't an accident, it was arson. Lila's grief turned to rage. She vowed to expose the truth, no matter the cost, for Ellie, Max, Sophie, Ben, Clara, Finn, and Rosie. Lila tracked down the council member, Mr. Hargrove, at a town meeting. Her heart pounded as she confronted him, demanding answers about the Order. His nervous glance confirmed her suspicions. He denied everything, but Lila saw fear in his eyes. She left, shaken but resolute. At home, her mother noticed her distress and finally asked what was wrong. Lila broke down, sharing her quest. Her mother's tears mixed with pride, and for the first time, they grieved together. Lila felt a spark of hope her family might heal, but only if she uncovered the full truth. Jamie found a hidden forum online where Order members discussed their plans. One post mentioned a final cleansing soon. Lila's stomach churned another family could be targeted. She and Jamie decided to warn the police, but the station was eerily quiet. A familiar face, Tom, was there, watching. They left quickly, sensing danger. Lila's phone buzzed again. "You can't stop us!" Fear gripped her, but her siblings' memories gave her courage. She and Jamie planned to gather more evidence, knowing time was running out. The truth was close, but so was the Order's reach. Lila and Jamie returned to the warehouse, finding a hidden room filled with files. One folder bore her family's name, detailing their home's strategic value. The Order wanted the land for a development project. Lila's hands shook. Her siblings died for profit. She took photos, determined to expose them. As they left, a shadow moved. Someone had followed them. They ran, narrowly escaping. Lila's resolve hardened. She couldn't let fear win. Her siblings' laughter echoed in her mind, urging her to fight. The truth was a weapon, and she was ready to wield it. Lila met Sarah, a journalist who'd been investigating the Order. Sarah believed her, promising to help publish the truth. They pored over the evidence, building a case. Lila felt a flicker of hope her siblings' deaths wouldn't be in vain. Sarah warned her to stay safe. The Order was ruthless. Lila's parents began to notice her strength, asking to help. She shared bits of her findings, and they listened, their grief easing slightly. Lila felt her family knitting back together, but the Order's threat loomed. She prepared for the next step, knowing danger was near. The order set a trap, luring Lila to an abandoned lot with a fake tip. She went alone, desperate for answers. Cloaked figures surrounded her, demanding the evidence. Lila's heart raced, but she stood firm, clutching her phone. Jamie arrived just in time, scaring them off. Shaken, Lila realized how close she'd come to danger. Jamie's loyalty steadied her. They shared a quiet moment, remembering her siblings. Lila vowed to be smarter, to protect herself for her family's sake. The order was desperate, which meant she was close to breaking them. Sarah's article hit the local paper, exposing the order's land schemes and linking them to the fire. The town buzzed with shock. Lila's parents read it, tears in their eyes, proud of her courage. But the order retaliated, spreading lies to discredit Lila. She felt exposed, but resolute. Protests formed outside the council building, demanding answers. Lila joined, holding a sign with her siblings' names. The community's support gave her strength, but the anonymous threats continued. She knew the order wasn't done. Lila prepared for their next move, fueled by her siblings' memory. Hargrove cracked under pressure, confessing to the police about the order's arson plot. He named others, including a fire official. Lila watched the news, stunned. Her siblings' deaths were no accident. Greed had stolen them. Tears fell, but so did a weight. The truth was out. Her parents hugged her, their first real embrace since the fire. They grieved together, sharing stories of Sophie's pranks and Ben's drawings. Lila felt her siblings' presence, a bittersweet comfort. The fight wasn't over. Trials loomed, but she'd taken the first step toward justice. The trial of the order members gripped the town. Lila sat in the courtroom, her parents beside her as evidence piled up. The star symbol, the land deals, her family's filet all came to light. Hargrove's testimony painted a chilling picture of greed and power. Lila testified, her voice steady as she spoke of her siblings. The jury's eyes softened, and she felt Ellie's courage in her. The defense tried to discredit her, but Lila stood firm. Outside, supporters chanted her siblings' names. She wasn't alone anymore, but the pain lingered. The jury deliberated for days. Lila waited, haunted by memories of Clara's songs and Finn's hugs. When the guilty verdict came, she sobbed, relief mixing with grief. The order members faced years in prison, but no sentence could bring her siblings back. Her parents held her, their strength returning. The town rallied, creating a memorial for her siblings. Lila spoke at the unveiling, her voice breaking as she promised to live for them. The fight had changed her, but so had her love for Ellie, Max, Sophie, Ben, Clara, Finn, and Rosie. Lila started a foundation in her siblings' names, raising awareness about fire, safety, and corruption. She spoke at schools, sharing their stories. Her parents helped, finding purpose in their grief. The apartment felt less empty, filled with photos and memories. At night, Lila still wrote to her siblings, but the letters held hope now. She felt them watching, proud. The town changed. 2 new safety laws passed, and the order's influence faded. Lila knew her journey wasn't over, but she'd found a way to carry her siblings forward. Lila's foundation funded a memorial garden where her family's home once stood. She planted 7 trees, 1 for each sibling, their names carved into plaques. The community gathered, sharing stories of her siblings' kindness. Lila felt their spirits in the breeze, a quiet comfort. Her parents smiled more, helping with the garden. Lila found solace in the soil, each plant a tribute. But whispers of remaining order members lingered. Lila stayed vigilant, knowing her siblings' legacy depended on her. The garden was a start, but her fight for justice continued. A letter arrived, unsigned, hinting at another order hideout. Lila's heart raced. Could there be more to uncover? She confided in Jamie, who insisted on joining her. They found the hideout, a small shed filled with coded notes. Lila's hands shook as she photographed them. The codes mentioned final targets. Lila feared more fires. She shared the evidence with Sarah, who promised a follow-up article. Her parents, now stronger, supported her, but urged caution. Lila felt her siblings' courage, pushing her to protect others from the order's reach. Lila and Jamie spent nights deciphering the codes, revealing names of families at risk. They warned the police, who raided the hideout, arresting 2 more order members. Lila's heart pounded. Her siblings' deaths had saved others, The town hailed her as a hero, but she felt hollow. At the garden, she spoke to her siblings, promising to keep fighting. Her parents joined her, their grief softening. Lila realized her quest was healing them all. But the Order's shadow loomed. She knew more secrets waited. Her siblings' memory drove her forward, unwavering. Sarah uncovered a high-ranking Order member still free a wealthy developer, Mr. Klein. Lila's blood boiled. His company profited from her family's land. She confronted him at a gala, her voice steady despite his smug denial. The crowd watched, whispering, as she held up the star symbol. Klein's composure cracked, and Lila felt a surge of power. She left, determined to find proof. Jamie and Sarah helped, digging into Klein's finances. Lila's parents, now active in her fight, rallied the community. Her siblings' faces fueled Hirsch was closer to full justice. Lila found bank records linking Klein to the Order's arson funds. Sarah published them, sparking outrage. Klein was arrested, his empire crumbling. Lila watched the news, tears falling. Her siblings' deaths weren't in vain. She'd exposed the rot in her town. Her family grew closer, sharing memories of Max's jokes and Rosie's giggles. The garden became a community hub, a place of healing. Lila felt her siblings' pride. But she knew the Order's influence lingered in shadows. She vowed to stay vigilant for her family and her town. The town held a vigil at the garden, candles glowing for Lila's siblings. People shared how her fight inspired them. Lila spoke, her voice strong, honoring Ellie, Max, Sophie, Ben, Clara, Finn, and Rosie. Her parents stood beside her, their strength renewed. A new tip surfaced about an Order safe house. Lila, Jamie, and Sarah investigated, finding plans for more land grabs. They turned them over to the police, who acted swiftly. Lila felt her siblings' spirits cheering. The fight wasn't over, but the town was waking up, ready to stand with her. Lila led a team to the safe house, her heart pounding. Inside, they found records of every Order plot, including her family's fire. The evidence was overwhelming, sealing the fate of remaining members. Lila clutched Ellie's teddy bear, tears mixing with triumph. Her parents hugged her, proud and healing. The town celebrated, but Lila felt the weight of her loss. She visited the garden, whispering to her siblings. Their memory was her strength. The Order was crumbling, but Lila knew her journey was about more than justice. It was about love. Lila began writing a book about her siblings, pouring their lives onto pages. Each chapter captured their quirks, Sophie's pranks, Finn's curiosity. Writing was painful but healing. Her parents read drafts, crying and laughing, reconnecting through memories. Sarah helped edit, ensuring the story reached the world. The book's release sparked national attention, with fire safety reforms proposed. Lila spoke at events, her siblings' names on her lips. The Order's last members faced trials, but Lila focused on her family's legacy, determined to honor them forever. Lila's book tour took her across the country, sharing her siblings' story. Audiences wept, inspired by her resilience. She met other survivors, their shared pain forging bonds. Her parents joined her at some events, their pride evident. The garden became a pilgrimage site for readers. Back home, a final Order member was caught, ending their reign. Lila felt relief, but no closure. Her siblings were still gone. She spoke at a safety conference, her voice steady. Ellie's courage, Max's humor, they lived in her. She'd carry them forward always. Lila's parents started counseling, healing through shared grief. They helped with the foundation, teaching fire safety. Lila felt their love strengthening, a tether to her siblings. She and Jamie grew closer, their friendship, a quiet anchor. The garden bloomed, a living tribute. A new law passed, inspired by her book, mandating stricter fire codes. Lila visited her siblings' trees, feeling their presence. She wasn't alone anymore. The Order was gone, but her fight continued for safety, for memory, for love. Her siblings' spirits guided her, forever. The first anniversary of the fire loomed, heavy with dread. Lila planned a quiet ceremony at the garden, inviting the community. Her parents helped, their hands steady as they placed flowers by each tree. Lila spoke, her voice breaking as she named her siblings, their lives vivid in her heart. Townspeople shared memories, their support, a balm. Lila felt Ellie's laughter, Rosie's warmth. The pain was raw, but so was her strength. She vowed to keep the garden alive, a place of healing. The order was defeated, but her siblings' legacy would endure, carried by love. Lila enrolled in college, studying fire science to prevent other tragedies. Her parents beamed, seeing her siblings' passion in her. She volunteered at the foundation, training others. Jamie joined, their bond deepening. The garden hosted safety workshops, drawing crowds. A letter from a reader, a fire survivor, thanked Lila for her courage. She cried, feeling her siblings' pride. The pain of their loss never faded, but purpose gave her strength. She visited their trees, promising to live boldly for them. Her journey was theirs, forever intertwined. Lila's foundation launched a scholarship in her siblings' names, helping students pursue safety studies. Applicants shared stories of loss, echoing her own. She read each one, tears falling, but felt hope. Her parents helped choose recipients, their grief easing through action. At the garden, Lila planted new flowers, each bloom a tribute. Jamie proposed a safety app, and they worked together, driven by her siblings' memory. The town embraced her, calling her a hero. Lila didn't feel heroic, just a sister, keeping her promise to Ellie, Max, Sophie, Ben, Clara, Finn, and Rosie. A filmmaker approached Lila, wanting to document her story. She hesitated, protective of her siblings' memory, but agreed to share their light. Filming was emotional, revisiting the fire's pain. Her parents joined, their voices steady as they spoke of their children. The documentary aired, sparking national safety campaigns. Lila watched, clutching Ellie's teddy bear, feeling her siblings near. Messages poured in from viewers, inspired to act. The garden grew, a symbol of resilience. Lila knew her work wasn't done, but her siblings' love carried her forward. Lila organized a reunion for fire survivors at the garden, a place to heal. Strangers became family, sharing stories of loss and hope. Her parents spoke, their strength inspiring others. Lila felt Sophie's mischief, Ben's kindness in the air. A new lead surfaced about a forgotten order plot. Lila investigated with Jamie, uncovering minor players. They turned evidence over, closing another chapter. The garden's trees stood tall, like her siblings' spirits. Lila's heart ached, but she was building a legacy of love and safety. Lila mentored young survivors, sharing her journey. One girl, Mia, reminded her of Clarashi, but fierce. Lila taught her to channel grief into action, just as she had. Her parents watched, proud, their home alive with purpose again. The foundation grew, funding safety programs nationwide. Lila spoke at a congressional hearing, her siblings' names echoing. The garden hosted a safety fair, drawing thousands. Lila felt Finn's curiosity, Rosie's joy. The pain lingered, but her siblings' love was her strength, guiding her always. Jamie proposed in the garden under Rosie's tree. Lila's heart raced, tears mixing with joy. She said yes, feeling her siblings' approval. Her parents embraced them, their family healing. The town celebrated, the garden glowing with lights. Lila found a new order document, hinting at a sister group in another state. She shared it with Sarah, who investigated. Lila focused on her future, her siblings' memory woven into her life. The fight continued, but love Jamie's, her parents, her siblings was her anchor. Sarah's investigation revealed the sister group, tied to more arsons. Lila traveled to meet survivors, sharing her evidence. They formed a coalition, exposing the group. Lila's heart ached for new victims, but her siblings' courage drove her. She spoke at rallies, their names her mantra. Back home, the garden thrived, a beacon of hope. Her parents planned a safety conference, inspired by Lila. She and Jamie prepared for their wedding, feeling her siblings' presence. The fight against greed continued, but Lila's love for her family was her greatest weapon. Lila married Jamie in the garden, surrounded by her siblings' trees. Her parents walked her down the aisle, their smiles bright. She wore Ellie's locket, feeling her siblings near. The community toasted their love, the garden alive with joy. A new tip about the sister group led Lila and Sarah to more evidence. They published it, sparking arrests. Lila danced with Jamie, her heart full. Her siblings' laughter echoed in the breeze. She'd built a life from their loss, their love, her guide. Lila learned she was pregnant, a mix of joy and fear. She visited the garden, whispering to her siblings about their niece or nephew. Her parents cried, hopeful for new life. The foundation expanded, training firefighters nationwide. Lila felt Max's humor, Sophie's strength. A final order member surfaced, but Lila's evidence led to their arrest. The garden hosted a safety summit, uniting survivors. Lila's belly grew, her heart with it. Her siblings' legacy lived in her work, her love, her chilled a new chapter, built on their memory. Lila gave birth to a girl, named Rose for Rosie. Holding her, she felt her siblings' love. Her parents doted, their grief softened by Rose's smile. The garden became Rose's playground, her laughter echoing Finn's. Lila's foundation grew, saving lives daily. A survivor contacted Lila, inspired to start a safety group. Lila mentored her, sharing her siblings' story. The order was gone, but vigilance remained. Rose's tiny hand in hers, Lila visited the garden, promising her siblings their legacy would endure, forever carried in love. Lila mentored more survivors, her story a beacon. Rose toddled in the garden, her giggles like Clara's. Lila's parents taught safety classes, their purpose renewed. The foundation funded research, preventing fires nationwide. Lila felt Ben's kindness, Ellie's courage. In her work, a new fire safety law passed, named for her siblings. Lila spoke at its signing, tears falling. The garden hosted a celebration. The community united. Rose pointed at Rosie's tree, babbling. Lila's heart ached, but her siblings' love was alive, guiding her family forward. Lila's book went global, translated into 10 languages. She traveled, sharing her siblings' story, inspiring safety reforms. Rose stayed with her parents, who thrived in their roles. The garden became a global symbol, visited by survivors worldwide. A final order remnant was exposed, thanks to Lila's evidence. She felt Sophie's mischief, Max's joy, in her victory. Rose's laughter filled the garden, a new generation's hope. Lila's pain never faded, but her siblings' legacy shone, a light against greed and loss. Lila's foundation built a fire station, named for her siblings. At the opening, she spoke, her voice steady, honoring Ellie, Max, Sophie, Ben, Clara, Finn, and Rosie. Rose cut the ribbon, her tiny hands guided by Lila's. The community cheered, united in purpose. Sarah uncovered a new arson ring, and Lila shared her expertise. The ring collapsed, saving lives. Lila felt her siblings' pride. Rose played under their trees, her joy a balm. The fight continued, but Lila's love for her family was her strength, unwavering. Lila welcomed a son, named Max for her brother. His eyes sparkled like Sophie's, and Lila cried, feeling her siblings near. Her parents doted, their home alive with laughter. The foundation grew, training thousands in fire safety. Rose and Max played in the garden, their joy a tribute. A survivor's letter thanked Lila, calling her a hero. She didn't feel heroic, just a sister, keeping her promise. The garden hosted a global summit, uniting safety advocates. Lila's siblings' legacy lived in every life saved, every fire prevented, their love her guide. The filmmaker returned, documenting Lila's global impact. Filming was emotional, but Lila shared her siblings' light. Rose and Max appeared, their laughter echoing Finn's. Her parents spoke, their healing complete. The documentary inspired millions, sparking safety movements. A new tip led to a minor arson group, quickly dismantled with Lila's help. She visited the garden, Rose and Max at her side. Her siblings' trees stood tall, their spirits strong. Lila's grief lingered, but her family's love was her anchor, their legacy eternal. Lila's foundation funded a school with fire safety at its core. Named for her siblings, it taught resilience and prevention. Rose and Max attended, their laughter filling the halls. Lila's parents volunteered, their pride evident. The garden remained a heart of healing. A global safety award honored Lila, but she gave credit to her siblings. She spoke at the ceremony, their names, her strength. The order was a memory, but vigilance remained. Lila's family grew, her heart with it, her siblings' love guiding her always. Lila welcomed a daughter, Sophie, her namesake spirit shining. Rose and Max adored her, their bond like Lila's with her siblings. The garden was their sanctuary, where Lila told stories of Ellie, Ben, Clara, Finn, and Rosie. Her parents thrived, teaching safety. A new arson case surfaced, but Lila's expertise stopped it. The foundation's reach grew, saving countless lives. Sophie's giggle echoed Clara's, and Lila felt whole. The pain of loss lingered, but her siblings' legacy was alive, their love woven into her family's future. Lila hosted a global fire safety summit at the garden, uniting experts. Rose, Max, and Sophie played under the trees, their joy a tribute. Her parents spoke, their strength inspiring. Lila shared her siblings' story, their names resonating worldwide. A final arson plot was uncovered, stopped by Lila's network. She felt Finn's curiosity, Rosie's warmth. The summit passed new global standards named for her siblings. Lila's heart ached, but her family's love was her guide, their legacy a light for the world. The 10th anniversary of the fire was solemn but hopeful. Lila held a ceremony at the garden, Rose, Max, and Sophie by her side. Her parents spoke, their voices strong, honoring their lost children. The community gathered, candles glowing for Ellie, Max, Sophie, Ben, Clara, Finn, and Rosie. Lila's foundation had saved thousands of lives. She felt her siblings' pride, their love eternal. A new safety law passed, their legacy enduring. Lila's children played, their laughter a balm. The pain remained, but her family's strength carried her forward, always. Lila's foundation went global, with branches in 20 countries. She trained leaders, sharing her siblings' story. Rose, Max, and Sophie helped, their young voices powerful. Her parents traveled with her, their healing complete. The garden remained their heart. A new safety technology, inspired by Lila, prevented fires worldwide. She felt Ellie's courage, Ben's kindness. The order was gone, but Lila stayed vigilant. Her children's laughter filled the garden, a living legacy. Her siblings' love was her strength, guiding her forever. Lila welcomed a son, Ben, his smile like Clara's. Rose, Max, and Sophie doted, their bond unbreakable. The garden was their playground, where Lila shared her siblings' stories. Her parents thrived, leading safety workshops. The foundation's impact grew, saving millions. A survivor's story mirrored Lila's, and she mentored them, feeling Finn's curiosity. The garden hosted a global youth summit, inspiring young advocates. Lila's heart ached for her siblings, but their legacy lived in her children, her work, their love, a constant guide. Lila opened a museum in the garden, dedicated to fire safety and her siblings. Exhibits told their stories: Ellie's art, Rosie's toys. Rose, Max, Sophie, and Ben helped, their pride evident. Her parents curated, their purpose renewed. Visitors wept, inspired by their legacy. A new arson ring was stopped, thanks to Lila's network. She felt Max's humor, Sophie's strength. The museum drew global attention, sparking reforms. Lila's children played under the trees, their joy a tribute. Her siblings' love was her anchor, their legacy eternal. Lila welcomed a daughter, Clara, her eyes like Finn's. Rose, Max, Sophie, and Ben adored her, their laughter filling the garden. Lila's parents taught them their lost aunts and uncles' stories, keeping their memory alive. The foundation's reach was unmatched, saving countless lives. A global safety award named for Lila's siblings honored her work. She spoke, their names, her strength. The garden was a global beacon, uniting survivors. Lila's grief lingered, but her children's love, her siblings' legacy, carried her forward, always. The 20th anniversary was a global event at the garden. Lila, now older, stood with Rose, Max, Sophie, Ben, and Clara, her parents, by her side. They honored Ellie, Max, Sophie, Ben, Clara, Finn, and Rosie, their names echoing. The world watched, inspired. Lila's foundation had transformed fire safety. She felt her siblings' pride, their love eternal. Her children spoke, their voices strong, carrying the legacy. The pain of loss remained, but Lila's family was her strength, their love, a light for the future. Lila became a UN Fire Safety Ambassador, her siblings' story inspiring policy. Rose, Max, Sophie, Ben, and Clara joined her, advocating globally. Her parents mentored young survivors, their home a hub of hope. The garden was a World Heritage Site. A new technology, named for Rosie, prevented fires. Lila felt Ellie's courage, Finn's curiosity. Her children's passion echoed their lost aunts and uncles. The fight was won, but vigilance remained. Lila's siblings' love was her guide, their legacy shaping the world. Lila welcomed a son, Finn, his laughter like Rosie's. Rose, Max, Sophie, Ben, and Clara taught him their family's story, their bond unbreakable. The garden was their sanctuary, where Lila's parents shared memories. The foundation's work saved billions. A global summit honored Lila's siblings, their names on new laws. She felt Max's humor, Sophie's strength. Her children led safety campaigns, their voices powerful. Lila's grief was a quiet ache, but her family's love was her anchor, their legacy eternal. Lila stepped back from the foundation, passing leadership to Rose. Her daughter, fierce like Ellie, took the helm. Max, Sophie, Ben, Clara, and Finn helped, their passion a tribute. Lila's parents rested, proud of their legacy. The garden remained a global heart. A final arson case was solved, Lila's advice key. She felt Ben's kindness, Clara's song. Her children's work ensured safety worldwide. Lila visited the garden, whispering to her siblings. Their love was her strength, their legacy carried by her family, forever. Lila wrote a second book, chronicling her children's work and her siblings' impact. Rose, Max, Sophie, Ben, Clara, and Finn contributed their voices strong. Her parents read, tears of pride falling. The garden hosted a book launch, uniting the world. A new safety standard, named for Lila's siblings, passed globally. She felt Rosie's warmth, Finn's curiosity. Her grandchildren played under the trees, their laughter a balm. Lila's grief was soft, her siblings' love eternal. Their legacy lived in every life saved. Lila, now old, sat in the garden, surrounded by Rose, Max, Sophie, Ben, Clara, Finn, and their children. Her parents were gone, but their love lingered. She touched each tree, whispering to Ellie, Max, Sophie, Ben, Clara, Finn, and Rosie. The garden was a global symbol of hope. Her foundation had eradicated preventable fires. Lila's children and grandchildren carried the legacy, their work unstoppable. She felt her siblings' pride, their love woven into her life. The pain of loss remained, but Lila's heart was full, their legacy a light forever.